everyone, this is Rachel, and I'm here for another episode of Lift and Sketch with Christy and Rachel. Today, as you saw in the photo right before I started talking, was the layout we are lifting. It is by Tracey Fox. That is from an Instagram screenshot that Christy took. Such a cute, lovely layout by Tracey. We are going to be lifting it. I had my Paige Evans for Pink Paislee Take Me Away out doing another layout that I think actually is going to come out in the same day. It just worked out that way. And looking at it, I was like, you know what? I think this would be perfect because in using these squares, Tracey's layout had half circles, but I was thinking instead of doing half circles, I would do, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. I would do little frames because I have this punch board frame doohickey. And I've used it a couple of times. It's a little dusty. That's how not often I've used it. But I have used it a couple of times, and I thought, you know, this would be a really cute way to use it and use frames instead of circles or half circles, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, put you on fast forward, and make sure you go and check out Christy's take on the sketch. I'll put a link to her, either her channel or her video below, depending on, you know, how enthusiastic I am about getting it correct. I'm going to be working with one 4x6 photo today, and besides the framework or frames, doing some vertical. In addition to doing the vertical strips of frames instead of half circles, I'm also going to choose other bits of elements of Tracey's layout to use in my own. Alright folks, I'm going to get you on fast forward, and just remember it probably will get a little louder, so be careful with your volume. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by trimming out these 2x2 squares. Now, I don't do all of them, but I do end up doing most of them just because I'm, you know, going along, la la la, so on and so forth. I switched to my smaller trimmer just for ease. And I will totally admit to needing a little learning curve on this frame board. I got it, probably last September, and I've used it like twice, once in September and once in October, and then I haven't used it since. So I do have to sacrifice 2 pieces of paper to it before I remember how to use it. Alright, I remember that there is some mixed media in that layout, and I did want to go ahead and do that. Now, Tracey had like some little ink sprays, and I thought that was so cute, and I never do that. I never just spray my mists. I always, you know, use the packaging technique or sprinkle them with, as a paint droplets. So I am going to use Jenny B. Blue, Glorious Day, and Mango Tango, and those are all by Shimmer's Paints, and I'm going to spray them on my Basil Marshmallow cardstock. I picked that up on Amazon. I have heard so many people rave about it, not having to gesso it if you're using light mixed media, and I think it's true. It does warp slightly if you use like a texture paste, but this didn't really warp it at all. It's perfectly straight. So I am going to dry it in between putting the colors down, just because I'm putting different color wheel sections on. I didn't want to make purple or to make brown. So, and that Mango Tango was way brighter than I realized it would be. When you mist it or when you use it as a packaging technique, it's much lighter than when you spray it directly out of the bottle. It's fine though. It's mostly covered up. I knew most of this was going to be covered up, so I know, even though right now it looks like a blobby color wheel type thing, it turns out really nice in the end. Alright, now we are moving on to punching out these frames. Now don't worry, I do cut away after a while, but I will show you the mistake I made. And first I grab a piece of copy paper that I had, you know, going to recycling, just to make sure I knew how it would punch, and I'm like, oh, I think I need to move it, and I go ahead and punch it, and I'm like, oh, crud, I do need to move it. So those little holes you move it in, you have to move it to where, if you want a square as opposed to, say, like something that looks like an instack, so more of a rectangle, you need to move it so that the numbers match up. So I'm trying to punch it, seeing if I can get it to where they're all even, but I give it up. I'm like, you know what, I'm never going to finish this. It's got like weird thingies in the corners. So we're just gonna, you know, sacrifice that to the scrapbooking gods and move on. I am gonna go ahead and cut away after I get to this second one because honestly I cut about 14 of these suckers and you don't need to be watching all of that. Now, once I do that, I'm going to kind of see where I want to lay things out before I cut out those center parts. I do, on my first one, use the frame board to cut the first one out. I will be completely honest. I really like this tool, but if you have a small piece of paper, it's actually just easier to take your scissors and cut it out that way than it is to get it in that little guide liner thing. I've used it to make larger frames, and on larger frames it's fine, it works great, but for the smaller ones it's really hard to see, and it's such a quite a tiny snip, it's not a big deal to just go ahead and do it. You don't get to see that because I have to cut close to me because I'm awkward with cutting, so you're just gonna magically go to where they're all done. So here we are. I'm gonna play around with this actually quite a bit, not all at once, but I'm trying to get, like, I don't want two colors next to each other. I don't want, like, two multicolor ones next to each other. I don't want all the pink in one area. I don't want all the purple in one area, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And so I'm, you know, playing around with them and stuff like that. I'm going to take that pink one in the right, yeah, that one right there, and I'm going to move that off to the side because it has cute little hearts on it. So I thought I might put it next to my photo rather than in the line there, because I don't know, it really sang to my heart. So it's like, I want that near the photo. So I grab another one I had cut out and put that in instead. Alrighty, now it's time to move on to layering behind my photo. There were tons of layering pieces in Tracey's original layout, so I decide I go a little lighter with the 12 by 12 paper. I just have this purple ombre watercolor one and then this multicolor hexagonal piece of paper, and I'm offsetting them so there isn't like a true full matte. It's just one on upper and side and then one on lower and the other side. I also grabbed these two 4x6 pocketed page cards. These are not from the Take Me Away kit. I bought a grab bag from Hip Kits, and included in my grab bag was a set of 3x4 and 4x6 cards, and it was from their December 2016 packet, and I'm saying "and" a lot, I apologize. They, when I looked it up, it was a lot of the Take Me Away line, so I went ahead and put it in my Take Me Away bag. I cut apart that frame, and that's from the die cut pack, and I put that little heart frame I cut out, and I stuck that right behind my photo along with this tag from the die cut pack. Now this completes my photo block, and I'm super happy with the way it turned out. It was really cute. I am going to add something later on, but I'll explain that when it comes up. Okay. I go ahead and get that all glued down, and now I'm going to move on to gluing down my frames. So I'm going to take my T-square ruler, because I want them to line up, because that seemed important to me, and once I get the first couple laid down, and I'm going to play again once with these, and then move them around and everything. Once I get the first couple laid down, I'm going to go ahead and speed through the rest of them, because it's the exact same thing, like 13 times. So I'm using my Scotch Tacky Glue, which used to be called Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive, and that top is a fine line bottle cap that I bought off of Amazon. You can just buy the caps, and someone told me you can just add a little bit of water and it helps them from getting stuck shut, and that has worked perfectly since I did that. Alright, I'm adding my second lane of frames, and I'm just lining those up as well. And here I am again, playing with them all, making it like, no, that's not perfect color choice, what are you doing? I'm crazy. I'm going to slow it down for this last one because I finally get to it, and what do? I drop it! Ah! It's fine, it dries clear, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to trim off the rest of the frames that are hanging off the end of my page, and then it is going to be time to, well, it's going to be time to add some extra ATG to my photo, but then it's going to be time to embellish. So what I'm going for here is just kind of a randomness, because that left-hand side is so structured. I want the embellishments to be more random. So I start with that die cut bow. I am going to end up putting a bow down there, just not that color. Spoiler alert. All right, that Carpe Diem die makes it there, die cut makes it there, but not exactly right there. I used that ampersand. I used an ampersand in that square, but not that ampersand. So a little theme going on here right now. All right, I'm poking through. I'm pulling out these flare. Now, these flare are ones I made using the first Paige Evans collection, Fancy Free. My friend Deb has a flare making machine, and at a crop, I made a whole bunch of flare, and then I split them up between the Fancy Free and this line, and it was great because I got to use a couple of the snarky ones. That light aqua one says whatever, the pink one says no regrets, and then the third one over on the left-hand side, that's just a design. I also pull out some of these bi-colored wood veneer and a couple more of the die cuts, that banner that says happy, happy, happy. And then I remember, oh yeah, you also have the chipboard stickers. So I decide that ampersand I like better. It has that bit of gold foil in it. And since I've got the gold foil and the Carpe Diem and the happy, 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 it makes me happy to add more gold foil. I also add that gold foil heart that says fun. And I decide that open circle is going to go better up at the top rather than down at the bottom. I'm just looking for anything else I can add, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want that bow. There does end up being a bow down there. I do pick up that gold foil banner piece, and that says, "Today is awesome." And I'm just moving things around. I think the flare will look better over on the right-hand side, and this isn't exactly perfect, but I do add one more die cut that says "So much fun," and I'm going to start gluing stuff down that I know is where I want it. So that's with that banner, and I'm going to get my Stampin' Dimensionals on my flare, and I'm being very careful with this flare up in the right-hand corner because it's going to go over that wood veneer, which is already dimensional. I use the edge portion, and I only add it to the part that isn't over the wood veneer. So it's quite dimensional for me. I'm not a super dimensional girl, so that's ridiculously a lot of dimension for my personal taste. Okay, I think about adding that paper ampersand behind the other one, but I'm like, nope. And I decide this floral postage style die cut will work quite well, and I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with that particular wood veneer circle. I think maybe I'll move the happy banner down there. I think about that, and I'm like, no, I like it better up here, so I'll move the wood veneer up there. Okay, I am going to get down this Carpe Diem die cut. Because it's going to go over that wood veneer circle, I'm going to add a pop dot in the part that's going to be inside the circle, and then just ATG to the other part. Now, as I mentioned, I am going to end up moving it, so it may not have been the best decision to go ahead and glue that sucker down. Alright, I get that down, and now I believe it's time to work on my title. I am going to use that wood veneer hay as part of my title, and then also these LE Studio teal alphas. I'm going to pull this out with my centering ruler. These are hard for me to get off. It's also quite humid here in Connecticut right now, so I am going to go ahead and skip ahead till they're all on my centering ruler, because it took me a long time to get those done for 2 short words. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the whole title for this is, "Hey, that is not your bed." So the reason I got to use the snarky ones and the fun and, you know, so much fun and all that, these goofy ones, this is not a serious layout. This is a fun layout. And I mentioned in Tracey's original layout, she had done based on a song, so my words are kind of based on a line from a movie that happens to be one of my favorite lines. It's from Turner and Hooch, which is an older Tom Hanks movie, and he keeps telling the dog he ends up having to take care of, "That is not your bed," and "This is not your bed," and stuff like that. So, hey, "that is not your bed" is something we say to the cat all the time, because you'll notice the cat is snuggled up in a bed there. Yeah, that's not her bed. That is the dog's bed. The dog is longingly staring at her bed, sleeping on the cat's bed. By the way, the dog is also right next to the cat's other bed. Yes, the cat has 2 beds, prefers to sleep in the dog's bed, of course. Alright, so here's where I start to put down the word "not," and that uses thickers that are called Bright. I think they came out with Christmas line. And once I put those down, I realize the Carpe Diem needs to get moved over, and then I'm going to skip ahead once again with the putting down of more LE Studio alphas, but I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to end up picking up the word "not" and moving it to the left of "that is," but then that leaves that really weird, wonky white square between the title and the photo block. So I grabbed some of those extra 2x2s that I had cut out but not made into frames, and I kind of pile them together and I trim off a bit, and I think I might be able to use a small piece, but it's too short. So I go ahead and use the big piece, and I wasn't planning on using them for anything else anyways, so no big deal. So I'm trying to fan them out so you see all the different colors. What I did was I had one that was yellow, one that was aqua, and then one that was shades of pink. And I end up just taking my I end up just like fanning them out in a way I like, and then I just take my tiny attacher and staple them so they won't move around. So I like the way that looks. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And I'm adding quite a bit of glue because of the tiny attacher. It is quite dimensional behind the photo block. So, oh, here I go. Oh, you know what? I do want that bow, but I'm going to go for the pink one. Add some extra glue behind the photo, and then glue down that hay. That's a little wonky, so I'm going to put some weight on it while it dries, and I'm going to go ahead and start my journaling. Now, once I get to that, I am actually almost done. So, as I mentioned before, this is just one of those fun layouts you do about the quirkiness of your pets. So, this is not your bed, and the amount of time Xanthi spends in that dog's bed, and the dog will, like, literally stand outside the bed and kind of hover over her, or she'll go and lay down on the cat's bed. Cat has two. Alright, last thing I'm going to do on camera is add some cross-stitch stamps from a roller stamp by Paige Evans in 3 plate spots. I do add some shimmers before dawn misting. Afterwards, you'll see it in the final photos. I've got close-ups coming up. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. Flick me a thumbs up if you can, and bye!